Hi, everybody. This is really just such a special moment for me. I feel like this is a moment to celebrate. I'm really not someone who is led by emotion, but really I'm just very overwhelmed, feeling a lot of things. But also, this event comes almost with perfect timing, just as the US is kicking off its Banned Books Week on Monday, and as of this past week in El Salvador, it's now prohibited to use inclusive language in education. So, bienvenidos, amigues, compañeros, todos y todas, to our gathering with participants that are joining us from El Salvador, Europe, and the US. I want to begin by saying really how deeply grateful I am for the invitation to edit this folio, and I want to offer my heartfelt thanks to editors Carolyn and Leslie and everyone at the New England Review. Um, I have to say it's really remarkable to work with such a supportive and professional team. Um, it was a lot of work. Selecting the pieces took a full year. I read, I don't know, stacks and stacks of books, but I would do it over a million times because I really feel like everyone involved was super enthusiastic and generous and collaborative, and it really is making me think more and more about future anthology projects and other projects. And so yes, I thank you, Carolyn, for that intro. I really appreciate it, and also for the shout out to Yvette Siegert that gave us the title of this folio, and that really encapsulates the feeling of all of the writing contained within it. So united with us today is this extraordinary group of writers, poets, translators, academics, award winners, poets laureate, editors, activists, parents, people who are playing central roles in shaping and promoting Salvadoran literature. But for me personally, really like the most special part of this all is that I've worked with many of these translators and authors over the years. We're such a small community, and so we've formed professional relationships and also lasting friendships. Um, and this folio right now feels especially urgent because a lot of these texts could not be freely circulating in El Salvador. And so thank you to New England Review for this platform. Um, Participating with us today are 8 translators and more or less 7 writers. We had some people drop out at last minute for personal reasons. I could speak pages, if not tomes, about each one of the people participating today. But in the spirit of letting the writing speak for itself, we're going to be pasting the bios in the chat, and we'll be reading in alphabetical order according to the flyer. We'll begin with William Archila, author of S is For, winner of the Philip Levine Prize. He will be reading Vladimir Amaya's poem. Then we'll follow with Mauricio Espinoza, a Costa Rican academic and prolific translator who will read the work of Miroslava Rosales. Unfortunately, Nestor Gómez, who completed his doctorate in the University of Illinois just recently, is sick with fever, so I'll read his translation of Ana María Rivas, who will follow with the original. María Fernanda Gómez Peralta, Mexican academic with an established translation career, will read her translation of Laurie Garcia Dueñas, who is also here with us and will read a selection. Oscar Moisés Díaz, poet, astrologer, and curator extraordinaire, will read the work of Roxana Mendez, who's also here to read her poem in Spanish. Willy Palomo, winner of the Forward Indie Poetry Prize for Wake the Others, will read the work of Alberto López Serrano, and hopefully Alberto will show up to read his poem. My friend Gabriela Poma, unfortunately could not join us today, so I'll be reading her translation of Derlin de Leon's moving short story, and hopefully Derlin will be here to read a selection in Spanish. Jessica Rainey, a talented translator based in the UK, will read from the moving memoir by Tania Pleites Vela, who is joining us from Italy. Reyes Ramirez, Poet Laureate of Houston and recent recipient of the Anne Friedman Translation Prize, will read a selection by Michelle Recinos. And finally, Emma Trelles, Cuban-American poet, series editor for the Alta California Chapbook Prize, now receiving submissions. And Mi Hermana de la Poesía, for more than 30 years, will close out the reading with her translation of Crisma Mancia. So I hope you'll take a moment after the event to visit their websites and social media pages to learn more about their projects and their important and really singular work. I want all of you to know how much I admire and respect you all so much. So with that, let's get started with William.
Hello, everyone. Good morning from Tahunga, California. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for joining us and for sharing this moment with us. Before I read, I just briefly wanted to thank New England Review and Alex for this great opportunity. I'm going to be reading the English version to Vladimir Amaya's On the Run, and then I'll read the Spanish version. On the Run. I dreamt of a city invented by sorrow. In its timeline, I loaded the pianos out of order, and so many false melodies. Men of melancholic music were its inhabitants, and that inevitable geography was out of fury and gunpowder. I was born in between an awful squad of fireflies and their bombings, when the scorpion invasion was in the clear waters, when cockroaches burned cornfields on the hands of December. My parents were dust and wind, because dust and wind cleaned my pupils. When my brothers, the murderers, had their eyes plucked out. Plants were my grandmother and light, who held me in her warm and red arms. I was born on the run, in the whirlpool of faces, footsteps the tank course erased from the fields. My soul is a journey halfway to a heart that migrates and hunts for a glass in time to drink its tides from the sky. North. The people fled towards the north. I then walked towards my mother's south. Always towards the south. I tore off the flesh, and from his wound I was born. With me, my mother gave birth to all migrations, in a country whose name is now a cursed metaphor. The dead that fell were left behind without shoes. Their hopes, we carry them with us. I grew up nowhere apart, because everywhere we had to hide from the sparrowhawk, from the stones that kill the sparrowhawk. The luggage filled with absences, cousins, aunts, and parents without faces in all the photographs. Behind me, the home country I never expected. And there's nothing in me that leads me to a well-known spot. No possibilities, no dreams, no origins. Just a tongue cut in two. Just a cut tongue like a lizard without a tail in the middle of the night. And everything has been useless. And everything has been tragic. 32 years later, I'm still born on the same run. I'm still on the run where I was born. Millions go with me, always fleeing, always left behind. All the dead without shoes. We can't stop now. We can't, ever. Y ahora la versión en español. En una guinda. Soñé una ciudad inventada por la tristeza. Cargué en la línea de su tiempo los pianos descompuestos y tantas melodías falsas. Hombres de música melancólica eran sus habitantes, y era de furia y de pólvora aquella geografía, sin remedio. Nací en medio de un borbandero de terribles escuadrones de luciérnagas, cuando la invasión de escorpiones era lo puro del agua, cuando cucarachas quemaban maizales sobre las manos de diciembre. Mis padres fueron el viento y el polvo, porque el polvo y el viento me limpiaron las pupilas, cuando a mis hermanos, sus asesinos, les arrancaban los ojos. La hierba fue mi abuela y luz, quien me tendió en sus brazos rojos y cálidos. Nací en una guinda, de rostros en vorágine, de pasos que la marcha de los tanques borró del campo. Mi alma es un viaje a la mitad de un corazón que migra y busca vaso del tiempo para beber del cielo sus mareas. Hacia el norte huía el pueblo. Yo caminaba entonces hacia el sur de mi madre, hacia el sur siempre, y desgarré la carne, y de su herida vine. Conmigo mamá dio a luz a todas las migraciones de un país cuyo nombre es ahora una metáfora maldita. Los muertos que caían quedaban atrás y sin zapatos. Sus esperanzas no las llevábamos nosotros. Crecí en ningún aparte, porque en todos lados habríamos de vivir ocultos del gavilán, de la piedra que asesina al gavilán, con el equipaje lleno de ausencias, primos, tías y padres sin rostro, en todas las fotografías. Atrás, el lugar que jamás me espero. Y nada hay en mí que me lleve a un sitio conocido, ni posibilidades, ni sueños, ni origen. Solo una lengua partida en dos. Solo tengo la lengua partida como una lagartija, sin cola, en medio de la noche. Y todo ha sido inútil. Y todo ha sido trágico. 32 años después, todavía sigo naciendo en la misma guinda. Aún sigo en la guinda en que nací. Millones van conmigo, siempre huyendo, siempre quedando atrás. Todos los muertos sin zapatos. No podemos detenerlos ahora. No podemos. Nunca. Thank you.
Okay. I also want to thank Alex and New England Review for this opportunity, especially Miroslava, who unfortunately is not going to be here to read her poem, but I'll try my best uh, to render it in a way that she will like. This poem is part of her Miroslava's book, República del Excremento, Excrement Republic, which I've translated and hopefully will see the light soon, although there is a bilingual edition in Italian already. So. There's no place for my country in the encyclopedias of wonder. There's no place for my country in the encyclopedias of wonder. There's no place for the harmony of magenta aurora fish. There's no place for cosmic words in this endless explosion of bodies crashing like meteorites in vacant lots. There's no place. There's no place. There's no place for the dreams of honey trumpet hearts in this pilgrimage of doubt. There's no place to embrace cotton candy tenderness. How do you let yourself be comforted by a symphony of floral scents if the TV stations never cease to show the daily count of dead and disappeared? How do you raise a peace flag among this daily horror of bloody knives and bodies dumped in wells? History is cruel with the shoeless. Justice is discarded in the garbage dump every day. History's train will fall into a precipice, passengers and all. Oblivion again, blood again. Tanks on the streets of hatred again, fear wiggling on the tongue like a burning caterpillar. Again, military sieges again, mothers mourning their sons lost in cocaine sewers again, mothers mourning their daughters raped by reptiles again. Their blood has been sucked by monsters. Heads on the plazas like Christmas decorations again, shots illuminated by the prayers of white-clad women again. They pray in abandoned rooms. Oblivion again. Foreign newscasts ignore their centuries-old cries. Republic, excrement. Republic, whip. Republic, a pack of dogs since its foundation. The empire will not hear the echoes of pain in the desert caravans, doesn't even want to know about the graves the neoliberal hurricane leaves in its wake. My tropical country continues to resist in the fire's orphancy. My country, the size of a medallion I carry like a talisman. My country, a cactus during a long drought. My bonfired country resisting the piranhas of power. A magnificent flower will bloom from the cactus to remind us there is comfort even in this scorched land. Y ahora el poema en español. No hay sitio para mi país en las enciclopedias del asombro. No hay sitio para mi país en las enciclopedias del asombro. No hay sitio para la armonía de los peces aurora magenta. No hay sitio para las palabras cósmicas en esta interminable explosión de cuerpos caídos como meteoritos en predios baldíos. No hay sitio. No hay sitio. No hay sitio para la ensoñación de los corazones trompeta de miel en este peregrinar de dudas. No hay sitio para abrazar la ternura de algodón de azúcar. ¿Cómo adentrarse a lo arrullo de una sinfonía de esencias florales si no termina el recuento diario de muertos y desaparecidos en las televisoras? ¿Cómo izar la bandera de la paz en este diario horror de navajas ensangrentadas y cuerpos tirados a los pozos? La historia es cruel con los descalzos. La justicia es tirada al vertedero día a día. El tren de la historia se irá al precipicio con todo y pasajeros. Otra vez el olvido. Otra vez la sangre. Otra vez las tranquetas en las calles del odio, otra vez el miedo posado en la lengua como un gusano, otra vez los cercos militares, otra vez la madre llora a su hijo perdido en la alcantarilla de la cocaína, otra vez la madre llora a su hija violada por los reptiles, su sangre ha sido bebida por las bestias, otra vez las cabezas en las plazas como adornos de feria navideña, otra vez los disparos a la luz de las plegarias de las mujeres de blanco, ellas rezan en cuartos abandonados, otra vez el olvido. Los noticieros internacionales no conocen su grito de siglos. La República, excremento. La República, látigo. La República, jauría desde su fundación. El imperio no escucha los retumbos del dolor en las caravanas del desierto, ni saber quiere de las tumbas que deja a su paso el huracán del neoliberalismo. Sigue resistiendo en la orfandad de la llama mi país tropical, mi país del tamaño de una medalla que cargo como talismán. Mi país, cactus en una larga temporada de sequía. Mi país, fogata resistiendo a las pirañas del poder. Del cactus, una flor espléndida nacerá para hacernos recordar la existencia del consuelo, pese a la aridez del terreno. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Find it so amazing that I can hear the voice of every single poet in Spanish and in English. It's so moving. I'll be reading Ana Maria Rivas' responsorial song, translated from the Spanish by Nestor Gómez. 1. I, too, pleaded with the shadow of an unknown God for directions and astrolabes to divine adore. I, too, spoke ill of my lineage with my legs spread open. I birthed vermin, I plucked their eyes, sliced their tongues, draped their hands from my chest like talismans against time. I took their eyes and planted trees of 100,000 pupils. They would part along my path like willows, crying. Cascades of images would sprout from their branches, and the wind would rile the bitter fruit. 2. My shadow fancies me in a river of snakes, ascends to the altar of my youth, and names me with the clamor of all the monsters I bore. Mother, it is not I who calls you, it is the ivy. Ensnared am I beneath leaves deciduous. I too cried for directions. I too pleaded for astrolabes. Created in both your image and likeness, I too, a bad mother, became lost. Now, Ana Maria will read the Spanish.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity of being here. So thank you so much, Alex, for being the channel to make this possible, to the editors, to the translators. And it's so good to see you. I will go ahead and read the Spanish version. Canto responsorial. 1. Yo también rogué a la sombra de un Dios desconocido, direcciones y astrolabios para hallar el puerto. Yo también maldije mi estirpe, con las piernas bien abiertas parí mis alimañas. Les saqué los ojos, les corté la lengua, colgué sus manos en mi pecho como amuletos contra el tiempo. Tomé sus ojos y planté árboles de 100,000 pupilas. Ellos se abrían a mi paso como sauces, lloraban, cascadas de imágenes brotaban de sus ramas y el viento agitaba sus frutas amargas. 2. Mi sombra me sueña en un río de serpientes, asciende hasta el altar de mi niñez y me nombra con la voz de todas las bestias que parí. Madre, no soy yo quien te llama, es la hiedra, atrapada estoy bajo la hojarasca. Yo también clamé por direcciones, yo también rogué por astrolabios, hecha imagen y semejanza tuya, fui también madre mala y me perdí. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
Hi, I'll be reading a poem written by Laura Garcia Dueñas, and I just want to thank everyone for making this possible. And let's begin. So, Honey Lichen, April 19, 2020. Honey Lichen, you, seminal germ, me, naked bundle of nerves, us, amalgam in disarray. These days, thunderclouds of asphyxia, excessive precaution, stony distance, minus yours and mine, because you grow inside me. The distance between the mother and the fetus is non-existent, anguish shaped like ants. So many questions, avoid well-known fences, oblige oneself earnestly to patience. Watch the sun lay down on its knees. Listen to neighbors' rooster and hens, circling each other. Watch the underbrush grow in front of the house, your kicks in the middle, your horizontal talks, the ultrasound photo, still. You don't leak. Don't leak. Don't take me to the hospital. Yet. It hurts so much to lose everything that was preconceived. The voyage disguises an escape. The work, the stairs, the school, the boys, the money that we never had, the fortune of imaginary numbers, the plans, fantasy made of mirrors, saying goodbye without knowing, to the sea and to a labyrinth. Honey lichen, this circular isolation is not our concern. Days are dark roads. I breathe. The mouth cannot stop chewing. Slices. Confusion comes, never extinct. Your weight in me, unavoidable. The graph in small pieces since childhood. The abulia. Nothing comforts me. The lack of concentration, fear of poverty, the duty that we were taught, that domestic labor as spikes, unsteady, the other son, seminal earthquake, the husband and his breeches. I feel like an equilibrist on the verge of derailing and shouting myself in 1,000 pieces. If I could, we will not derail yet. Can you hear me? Are you going to hear me? Will we ever engage in an intelligible dialogue? Will you be born without hurting me? Will we be able to be born together again? Facade of my life, endless wait, lifelong decompensation, the awaited lassitude, and at the same time, the sudden joy. This isolation, son of my flesh, this isolation, this eagerness of running away, of going together far from everything that has a name, of showing you the world and the things, if it could be done, but the state of the world and the things, minimum balance. Before this confinement was not promising, less now. People assault each other with words of their ghosts. Authoritarianism has sprouted from past history and the expanded confusion from which I tell you about. Then, what will I hand you over? What will I write to you? And if you come to be born in a gigantic psychiatric hospital, because people say they cannot handle this. I cannot handle this anymore. There are still a lot of days to go. Feline rounds. I do not mean to distress you. I am your mother, and mothers carry our children's sorrow in the middle of our breasts, even since centuries ago. I receive, then, in my body all the sorrows of the world, and I offer you this insignificant blood, my own, the hope that you mean to me. I breathe. I deactivate the intricate demands of drama. At your coming, blood muscle, everything will be peaceful, like a lullaby, and we will be able to go to the sea from which we come. Son of my flesh, honey lichen, wait for me. It's almost time to go through the threshold together.
Muchas gracias a María Fernanda Gómez, escritora y traductora. Y muchas gracias a Alex, muchas gracias a todas las personas que hicieron posible esta revista. Y un saludo especial a mis poetas favoritos salvadoreños, quienes muchos de ellos están en esta sala. Y a todos los traductores también, muchas gracias y felicidades. Domingo 19 de abril del 2020. Líquen de miel, tú germen ovular, yo manojo desnudo de nervios, nosotros amalgama en vilo. Estos días nubarrones de asfixia, precaución excesiva, distancia pétrea, menos la tuya y la mía porque me creces adentro. La distancia entre la madre y el feto es nula. Angustia en forma de hormigas, tantas preguntas, esquivar cercos noticiosos, obligarse con ahínco a la paciencia, ver el sol acostarse de rodillas, oír al gallo y a las gallinas del vecino rondarse, ver la maleza crecer frente a la casa, tus patadas en el centro, tus estirones horizontales, la foto del ultrasonido. Aún no goteas, no gotees, no me lleves al hospital todavía. Dolió tanto perder todo lo preconcebido, el viaje disfrazado de huida, el trabajo, los escalones, la escuela, la voz, el dinero que nunca tuvimos, la fortuna de números imaginarios, los planes, fantasía de espejos, decirles adiós sin saberlo al mar y al laberinto. Líquen de miel, este encierro circular no nos compete. Los días son oscuros caminos, respiro. La boca no para de masticar gajos. Viene la confusión nunca extinta, tu peso en mí insoslayable, la ira en pedacitos desde la infancia, la bulia. Nada me consuela, la falta de concentración, el miedo a la pobreza, el deber que nos enseñaron, las tareas domésticas como púas movedizas, el otro hijo, terremoto sanguíneo, el marido y sus resquicios. Me siento como un equilibrista a punto de embarrancarse y gritarme en mil pedazos. Si pudiera, no nos embarranquemos todavía. ¿Me escuchas? ¿Vas a escucharme? ¿Podremos entablar un diálogo inteligible? ¿Nacerá sin lastimarme? ¿Podremos nacer juntos otra vez? Frontispicio de mi vida, espera interminable, descompensación vitalicia, el hastío esperado y a la vez la dicha repentina. Este encierro, hijo de mi carne, este encierro, estas ganas de salir corriendo, de irnos lejos de lo nombrado, enseñarte el mundo y las cosas si se pudiese, pero el estado del mundo y las cosas, mínimo equilibrio antes de este confinamiento no era promisorio, menos ahora. Las personas se creen con palabras de sus fantasmas. Ha brotado el autoritarismo de la historia anterior y la confusión expandida de la que te hablo. Entonces, ¿qué voy a entregarte? ¿Qué voy a escribirte? Y si vienes a nacer en un gigantesco hospital psiquiátrico, porque la gente dice que ya no aguanta, yo ya no aguanto, y todavía nos faltan muchos días, rondas felinas. No quiero afligirte, soy tu madre, y las madres cargamos en el centro del pecho las aflicciones de los hijos desde hace siglos. Recibo pues en mi cuerpo todas las angustias del mundo y te entrego en esta sangre ínfima, la mía, la esperanza que me significas. Respiro, desactivo las intrincadas demandas del drama. A tu venida, músculo de sangre, todo estará tranquilo como una canción de cuna y podremos ir al mar del que venimos. Hijo de mi carne, líquen de miel, espérame. Falta poco para cruzar juntos el umbral. Y bueno, Agustín y Darío, por supuesto.
Good morning from Santa Tecla, from a usually cloudy hill, but it's really sunny today. I want to thank Alex and New England Review for all the hard work and invitation. And I'll be reading my translation of The Bavers by Roxana Mendez, which is the title poem of a fantastic award-winning collection. And yeah, here we go. Um, The Bavers. In the frosted glass of beer, I touched the sun with my fingers that day we made the sea fall backward. I don't know how we did it, but we did it. An escort of 900 musicians sounded their trumpets and trombones. Meanwhile, we slid across the marsh, kicking the crabs and shouting the names of all those who we hate, or those who hate us, and throwing jabs at the silhouette created by the malignant air. Spitting like strawberry blonde hyenas, the shadows we're poking out are the heads of those who negated mercy for us and the night of peace. And so we were happy that day, and we are now. Our bathing suits, indestructible, like wicker baskets with starfish, keep us perfect and sweet, and quite happy as well. And although we don't smell of bath scents, and our tangled hair is mostly sand, the only thing that concerns us is the hill and the moon above the waters and our screams that mimic the cry of the crane. We learn to dissolve our shimmering surnames like mints in the mouth before spitting them out. It will always be something emotional to stretch out in the dark to invent the world. Muchas gracias y se lo paso a Roxana. Ujú.
Muchísimas gracias, Oscar. Estoy emocionada de escuchar el poema en inglés leído por ti. Thank you to everyone for being with us today, to the editors of New England Review and all the translators. Las bañistas. En el gélido vaso de cerveza, toqué el sol con los dedos, ese día que hicimos retroceder el mar. No sé cómo lo hicimos, pero lo hicimos. Una escolta de 900 músicos sonaba sus trompetas y sus trombones mientras nos deslizamos por la marisma, pateando los cangrejos y gritando los nombres de todos aquellos a quienes odiamos o quienes nos odiaron, y dando puñetazos a la silueta que recreaba el aire maligno, escupiendo como llenas rubicundas las sombras donde asomaban las cabezas de aquellos que nos negaron la misericordia y la noche de paz. Y así fuimos felices aquel día, y lo somos ahora. Nuestros trajes de baño indestructibles, como cestas con estrellas de mar, nos mantienen perfectas y dulces, y bastante felices también. Y aunque no olemos esencia de baño, y nuestros cabellos enredados son casi toda arena, lo único que nos importa es la colina, y la luna sobre las aguas, y nuestros gritos que imitan el grito de la grulla. Aprendimos a disolver nuestros relucientes apellidos como pastillas de menta en la boca antes de escupirlos. Siempre será algo emocionante tenderse en la oscuridad para inventar el mundo.
Increíble. Gracias a Alex, gracias a New England Review y gracias a Alberto para dejarme traducir tu obra. My name is Willy Palomo and I'll be reading Dionysus No by Alberto Lopez Serrano. Do not touch me, Dionysus. Your voice does not hold the trick of time. If I could only reinvent the calendar, mouth months, gnaw on hourglasses, perhaps theorize a new era of abandon. Things would be better if it was always nighttime. Its starry lullaby always morphs us into primitives. The milky noise of things rules and enraptures us. No one needs your jump scares, Dionysus. Your voice does not hold the trick of time. Let me empty the craters of hours, chase once more the needles and numbers, empty my eyes and run, hobbling. Dionysus, let me hunt the hands that drag me into the desert, leave language dry and empty-handed, hunt golden onagers through sandy deserts. I'd rather drink the wine from the act of darkness, or at least sing of canine power. Gracias, Alberto.
Gracias, Willy. Gracias, Alex, por hacer posible esta lectura. También la revista. Vayan a conseguir su copia para que la tengan también en físico. Dionisos, no. No me abraces, Dionisos. No tienes en tu voz la trampa de los días. Quisiera reinventar el calendario, morder los meses, masticar relojes de arena, quizás conjeturar un nuevo siglo de abandonos. Mejor sería que la noche fuera para siempre. Su estrellado arrullo nos vuelve siempre primitivos. El ruido lácteo de las cosas nos reclama y nos arroba. No haces falta, Dionisos, para el salto. No tienes en tu voz la trampa de los días. Déjame vaciar las cráteras de las horas, perseguir de nuevo las agujas y los números, vaciar los ojos y correr a tientas, Dionisos, perseguir las manos que me van alando hacia el desierto, vaciar las manos de palabras resecas, perseguir onagros dorados por desiertos arenosos. Mejor tomaré el vino del acto de la oscuridad, o al menos cantaré el poder del perro. Thank you.
I'll be reading Derlin de Leon's short story, a selection, translated from the Spanish by Gabriela Poma. Jorge turned 9 on the day of the earthquake. For the rest of the community, it was just another Saturday in October. It was hot, and the wind had started to die down. Jorge was outside killing worms when the hut shook for the first time. From up in the tree, he saw fine dust rising between its wooden columns. People began to emerge from their homes, children, older people, and even cats. Everyone looked as if they had been scolded. They exchanged silent glances and were on the verge of speaking when the rumbling sound of a train resonated from the river, and in an instant, everything visible shook violently. Girded to the tree from which the worms he had killed were falling, Jorge thought about his cake. Birds flew in all directions. People scrambled, dogs barked, and hens molted their feathers in a desperate attempt to escape. The air filled with a cacophony of prayers and weeping. Some men embraced their children, while others struggled to prevent wreckage from the metal sheets coming off the huts. Indoors, framed photographs and glass knickknacks smashed to the ground. No one was sure how long it lasted. The older people estimated 5 minutes, calculated by the deep silence of human beings and things that hung in the air. It's over, thought Jorge, as he watched people returning to their huts. He jumped out of the tree and headed toward the baker. What time is it? 11:05, the baker answered, without taking his eyes off the sky. My mom finishes work at 12, the boy said. The man remained transfixed. Jorge did not return to his hut. Instead, he headed to the corner where the other children had gathered to discuss what had happened. My mom says it's an earthquake. No, God is angry with my father for abandoning us. My grandmother was born during an earthquake, but I don't know when. Jorge looked at the children. He didn't speak because he didn't know what to say. No one had explained anything to him. See that tree, he finally said, pointing to it. I climbed it so I could see the earthquake from above. Were you scared? No, I wasn't. And if you don't believe me, ask the baker. The children believed him because none of them ran to ask the man who continued to stare at the sky. For the first time, they listened to Jorge explain how to observe an earthquake from a tree. And that's all, he concluded. Besides, I'm 9 today, and my mom leaves work at 12 because it's Saturday. I'll give you some cake. And that's just a selection. I'll leave you with Derlin to read a selection in Spanish.
Gracias, Alex. Muchas gracias por hacer esto posible y a New England Review. Un pastel. Jorge cumplió 9 años el día del terremoto. Para el resto de la comunidad era un sábado cualquiera de octubre. Hacía calor y el viento había comenzado a ceder. Jorge estaba afuera matando gusanos cuando la cabaña se estremeció por primera vez. Desde el árbol vio un fino polvo que se elevaba de entre las columnas de madera. Las personas comenzaban a salir de las cabañas, niños, ancianos, también los gatos. Todos parecían regañados. Se miraban entre sí, pero callaban. Iban a empezar a hablar cuando un rumor de tren emergió del río, y en un instante todo lo que alcanzaba a ver se sacudió con violencia. Mi pastel, pensó Jorge, ceñido al árbol de donde caían los gusanos que estaba matando. Los pájaros volaron en desbandada. La gente corría de aquí para allá. Los perros ladraban y las gallinas dejaban las plumas en un intento desesperado por escapar. El aire se llenó de un alboroto de plegarias y de llanto. Algunos hombres abrazaban a sus hijos, otros se esforzaban por evitar que las láminas que se desprendían de las cabañas provocaran daños. Adentro, los retratos y los adornos de vidrio se estrellaban contra la tierra. Nadie tuvo certeza de cuánto duró, pero los ancianos calcularon 5 minutos porque había quedado en el aire un hondo silencio de personas y de cosas. Ya pasó, pensó Jorge, al ver que algunas personas regresaban a sus cabañas. Saltó del árbol y se dirigió al panadero. ¿Qué horas son? Las 11:05, respondió sin quitar la vista del cielo. Mi mamá sale a las 12 del trabajo, replicó el niño. El hombre siguió clavado. Jorge entró a su cabaña, se dirigió a la esquina. Ahí se habían reunido los demás niños a comentar lo sucedido. Dice mi mamá que fue terremoto. No, es que Dios está enojado con mi papá por habernos abandonado. Mi abuela nació en un terremoto, pero no sé cuándo. Jorge miraba a los niños. No hablaba porque no sabía qué decir. Nadie le había explicado aquello. Ven ese árbol, dijo por fin, señalándolo. Me subí a él para ver el terremoto desde arriba. ¿Te dio miedo? No me dio miedo. Y si no me creen, pregúntenle al panadero. Los niños le creyeron, porque ninguno corrió a preguntarle al hombre que seguía mirando el cielo, y por primera vez lo escucharon, y Jorge les habló de cómo se mira un terremoto desde un árbol. Y así fue, concluyó. Además, hoy cumplo 9 años, y mi mamá sale a las 12 del trabajo, porque es sábado. Les daré pastel. Gracias.
Thank you, everyone, and good evening from the UK. I'm going to be reading 6 Incantations Against Loss by Tanya Pleteth Villa. 1. San Anselmo, California, 1980. 3 small migrants, my brother, my sister, and me. Our first separation from home. The war wrenches us away from our original belonging. We leave aside the games, the garden, the blackouts and bombs. I don't know if loneliness sows its seeds in my brother, or whether my sister feels any anguish. Why do we not talk about it? But for me, yes, desolation. They go to live with one aunt, and I go to live with another. It's not a good idea to separate us. I cannot revive my emotions. They're arrested. I breathe between parentheses. Me ahogo. Several months go by. One night I creep out of the bed of my Californian cousin, through the shadows of the house to find the phone. I dial the area code of the country that expels us with its goat's breath. But for my 11-year-old self, it is the place of love, of mama y papa, of turtles, river almond trees, and the sea. I want to come back, I tell them in a whisper, so as not to wake my aunt and uncle, but also because it's all I can manage. I can tell Mama is close to tears, but she manages to say, yes, hija, it's okay, come back. Not long after, we're together again, the whole family. Papa drives, and the route from the airport to home feels like a protective arm. While away, our baby sister who stayed behind has learned to babble words and phrases, excited, animated, because it's like she's meeting us for the first time. She chatters invented words, half words, adapted to her 2-year-old language. She takes my hand, and her tiny fingers ease my heartache. 2. San Anselmo, California, 1981. A year later, we migrate again. This time we are 6 bodies transderados. Mama, her 4 children, and the baby on the way. I put my hand on her tummy and feel our brother navigating the waters. I am still navigating between parentheses too, but this time the anxiety seems manageable. Papa has stayed behind, alone in the house in the country with goat's breath. He is working hard to give Mama a peaceful birth, far from martial law and curfews. In California, I discover aunts and uncles, cousins, and other relatives I've never met. Mama's family migrated to San Francisco from El Salvador in the 50s, and the family tree has grown more branches. My sister and I sleep on the sofa bed in the front room, and every morning we walk to school, taking a shortcut through the woods until we reach the bus stop. Backpack, lunch bag, tennis shoes. One day some girls follow us, making fun of us because we're speaking Spanish. But my sister and I are untouchable. We're together. Nothing can take away our laughter or the sweet taste of plums picked from the trees. No one can crush us. Not the relatives who whisper behind Mama's back or the kids who try to bully us. My older brother lets his hair grow long in tight curls, and as he rides his bike, he looks to us like the embodiment of freedom. Our youngest brother comes into the world. I'm 11 years old and I change his nappy, kiss him, cuddle him. He has owl eyes. He was born wise because he navigated beyond our mother's waters. Baby transterrado. He smiles, surrounded by his 4 siblings, who reach out to touch his tiny hands and feet. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for showcasing our literature, New England Review, and thank you, Alex, for your beautiful work. And of course, thank you, Jessica, for translating my work. 6 conjuros contra la pérdida. San Anselmo, California, 1980. 3 pequeños migrantes, mi hermano, mi hermana y yo. Nuestra primera separación de casa. La guerra nos arrebata la pertenencia original. Quedan en suspenso los juegos de allá, el jardín, los apagones y las bombas. No sé si en mi hermano la soledad siembra su semilla, ni si mi hermana siente el desgarro. ¿Por qué no lo hablamos? En mí, sí, el desamparo. Ellos viven con una tía, yo vivo con otra. No es buena idea separarnos. No puedo retomar los afectos. Están detenidos. Respiro entre paréntesis. Me ahogo. Pasan algunos meses y una noche salgo de la cama de mi prima californiana y entre la sombra de la casa busco el teléfono. Marco el código de área de ese país que expulsa con su aliento de cabra. Sin embargo, para mi yo de 11 años, ese es el lugar del amor, de mamá y papá, de las tortugas marinas, los almendros y el mar. Quiero regresar, le digo en un susurro, para no despertar a mis tíos, pero también porque no soy capaz de tirar de un hilo de voz. Sé que mamá está a punto de llorar, pero alcanza a decirme, sí, hija, está bien, vuelvan. Poco después estamos juntos de nuevo, toda la familia. Papá conduce y en la autopista del aeropuerto a casa nos parece un brazo protector. Durante nuestra ausencia, la hermana pequeña que se quedó ha aprendido a balbucear palabras y enlazar. Conociera por primera vez, nos habla animadamente con palabras inventadas, inconclusas, adaptadas a su lengua de 2 años. Me toma de la mano y sus pequeños dedos mitigan mi añoranza. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the editors of New England Review. Thank you to Alejandra for organizing this. And it's an honor to be in conversation with so many amazing writers and poets and translators. So I will be reading my English translation of Casting by Michelle Recinos. In a span of 3 hours, 15 babies were paraded around the room in the thick arms of underpaid nurses. The 15 were turned over to the 5 ladies from the board of directors of the Cherubs Foundation. The 15 were then subjected to screenings to evaluate the condition of their tiny fingers, small arms, petite legs, and little bellies to determine if they were specimens of the highest quality that met the board's needs. 3 hours elapsed between the 10 a.m. coffee break and the last baby's examination. A plump, green-eyed specimen who might have been the chosen one, if not for the slight defect protruding from his lower back. The poor, anonymous creature was condemned then to the misfortune of a bifurcated spine and a rejection from Celeste Leon, the president of the Cherubs Foundation. The latter, perhaps, would mark his life more than the congenital defect. The ladies were beginning to exhibit signs of fatigue after hours of carrying, coddling, turning, squeezing, and appraising the babies. I simply believe that nothing good can come from here, said Vice President Mena, while cleaning her bony hands with an antibacterial towelette for the 5th time. The director of social outreach, Larios, seconded her statement while rubbing a few drops of hand sanitizer between her palms. From the coffee break table, the vice president of local affairs, Morales, agreed with emotion dramatic enough to cause her knockoff Chanel glasses to fall from her head. I always say that it's for the best that we stay in the capital. There we know things well. But clearly, no one listens to me, and we end up in situations like this, she said as she picked up her white glasses from the floor. The director of communications, Arana, took a long drink of her coffee, leaving lipstick and quesadilla residue on the cup's rim. After taking a bite from her pastry, bite of her pastry, which is more sofa cushion than bread, and washing it down with a syrupy slap to the face they call coffee, she said they couldn't go on thinking that way, that, as an institution, they had to make sure to cover the entire territory. After taking another sip, she added that this also helped the foundation's image. The only one who hadn't spoken yet since that chubby deformity had left the air-conditioned room with blood-curdling screams was Madame Celeste. She sat in the same place she had occupied throughout the entire session. She lost her train of thought and was trying to hear herself think. This is important work, ladies, she finally said, breaking her silence. Let me remind you that there's a substantial investment in this foundation on behalf of the party, as well as from the Hill gentlemen and from the Torres family. We're not messing around here. We must do this work perfectly. Whoever is not on board can damn well resign. The door is wide open. The other 4 women held their peace. Arana desired a cigarette, like back in her college years. She desired her college years. But this wasn't the place for that. Neither here nor there. She nodded. The others agreed too. There could be more kids out there, Mina said, with the helpful tone of a captain on a sinking ship. Remember that this is where the Dominguez babies are from, right? I'm sure there must be more kids, not just the ones registered with the foundation. The problem is not whether there's more kids, Vice President. The problem is that we're certain that none of those kids out there will be the one we're looking for, just like the ones we just saw. It's clear that none of the kids from this town will be. You can ask the priest, the mayor, the health ministry, whoever you want, but those other kids will be exactly like the 15 we just saw, Morales sentenced. And that's a problem because, asked Arana with the naivete of someone who graduated from a public university not too long ago and would be proud of that achievement for a good chunk of her life. Because it's not what we're looking for, Director, Morales answered, imbuing the statement with the force of a slap to the face with a wet mop. The 5 ladies sank into the silence of those who figured that being inside an air-conditioned room in a climate like the one outside was a blessing reserved only for those mortals of the utmost morality, piety, altruism, and generosity. For those who fulfilled their Christian duty without protest. Even if it means tolerating the tirades of Celeste Leon, the woman warrior of God who spat when she spoke, especially when she yelled. I don't understand why we're searching for the Gerber baby, thought Arana. She thought that thought and appreciated that it stayed in there, inside her head. Sometimes she had come to believe that not even her own head was a safe place within this foundation. Celeste Leon had said once or on various occasions that she was in control. And this control includes me, Arana would often think as she smoked in secret. But hidden from whom? In her own home and outside of work hours. And recalled Leon's words. We must keep looking. The last campaign did not completely please the Hill family, Let me remind everyone that Lady Celia said that it seemed more like a campaign for burn victims, chastised Morales. We can't afford to let them think the same thing again. Or worse, they'll think that we're not fit for the job. Or even worse, they'll call for premature elections for our new board of directors. And I'll end it there. Thank y'all so much.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's been here today with us, and to all of the poets and translators. You are all truly inspiring to me. And thank you to Leslie and Carolyn at the New England Review. I'm going to read a poem titled Summer by Crisma Mancia. My body has a life of its own, octopus life, life of the hole where I hide. My heart has again filled with light. Black butterflies escape beneath my skirt. It's late. The world won't stop annihilating me. The sun wheels. The heat tires. 39 degrees outside the body. Inside, there's rain. Surprise, surprise. I declare that my son was stillborn. I hid him in a water tank. Now he's solely mine. Summer is maddening. No one should know that one day I saw an angel. The sky has a scar behind its cages. Bread tastes like ash. Surprise, surprise, I smell my skeleton's ash in the bonfire. It's early. The world has sentenced me to sew up my vagina. Later, my mouth. Nothing should come in or out. Nothing. Not even the wind. I am guilty because I smell of fear.
I believe that was our last reading for the day. Anyone may correct me if I'm wrong, but thank you again, everybody, so much for coming and joining us to listen, to see these writers and these translators and the amazing work that they've been doing. It's been just such a pleasure to hear the voices one after the other. So we encourage you to get a copy of the feature. You can get, there are still copies of the issue left if you'd like to get one. We have ebooks as well. Thank you again so much for your support of the New England Review and for making this an amazing feature. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you again, I hope.
Hasta luego. Gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias, los vemos.
Bye.
Gracias.
Abrazos a todos, a todas y a todes.
Gracias, gracias. Estoy súper conmovida. It was an amazing reading. Thank you so much.